All right, everything has been harvested now, and it's time to start turning these fields into pasture. We're gonna start moving forward on our little homesteading dream. We're gonna show you exactly how we're gonna do it. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, The Purpose Driven Homestead. We are so excited to have you along today. Today is a really special day because today is really the first day we get an opportunity to start our new homestead. You might ask, well, now what does that mean, Patrick? Why are you saying that? Well, because the farmer just got all of the soybeans harvested in all the fields behind me, and you can see that these things are now in a space where they're ready to be planted. But this year is going to be a change. So for probably 100 years, this farm has been essentially a crop farm, and it's been great. The farmer that has used this property, has leased this property, was a fantastic person. He still is a family friend, and we're grateful for him. He was kind enough to not just harvest the crop, but he was actually kind enough to till it up for us, because we don't have a tractor. You can see the tractor in the back. That's not ours. That's actually my brother's. Again, through the kindness of others, we're able to do some of this stuff. But we have this entire field that has now been tilled up, and it's ready to plant in grass seed. Now, I can't underscore how big of a deal this is going to be for us today. We have had so much success raising turkeys and broilers and rabbits and all kinds of stuff on a small scale, and we've done that even here on the small piece of property that we have right now. But being able to kind of expand and lease these fields and do more with this is going to be an absolute game changer, and I can't say that enough, right? So we have had so much success where we're at, but we've got to do more if we want to expand. So we're really proud of what we were able to do with that small space. But one of the things we want to do is we want to be able to expand. And in order to do that, we've got to have a little bit more in the way of pasture. We've got to get it established though. This stuff has been fields for so long, there's really nothing in it that is growing that is a worthwhile grass. We're going to have a lot of weeds that we're going to have to contend with. So we want to make sure that we are able to get something planted over the winter and then hopefully get something also planted to ready to go in the spring. So we've got kind of multiple things going on today. I'm going to show you exactly what it is that we've got going on. So my brother was using his tractor yesterday to help us out, and he was able to do a lot of things that we just simply couldn't be able to get done here. He's got a hopper on the back of this, and you can see that what we planted to start off with. So this is rye seeds, and this is for ryegrass. We're getting this started. This will grow through the winter here. It doesn't get super cold here, so this will actually be a cover crop that we're going to put in. It'll get something established that things can forage on. You see there's just a little bit left down here in the bottom, but that ryegrass is what he sowed yesterday. You can see we did 24 bags of it. And so we got this from a local place, really excited about it, but this is something that we were able to get done yesterday because it'd be a lot to try to get tackled on a single day. And you can see that the trailer is wet this morning, so I was able to get everything in there that we had, and we were able to store it. So this is clover seed. We have that ready to go. You can see we have 4 bags of clover, and then we've got Kentucky 32. So now this is something else that we had to actually look for. We actually had to have them order this especially for us because this isn't something they standard carry. But this is Kentucky 32. Most of you are probably familiar with Kentucky 31, Kentucky 32, but this is end-of-fight free. And this is actually something we had to order specially, they had to get for us. But we're going to put down about 6 bags of this Kentucky 32 fescue. This is a tall fescue that we're going to grow here. It's going to help us out. It'll be a good forage in addition to the hot weather grasses, but it'll give us some option. The hot weather grasses are going to probably seed on their own. They're already out there in the soil. This will give us some cool weather, spring and fall, and even through some of the winter here. This will give us some grass that'll grow pretty well during that time of year, but it'll be end-of-fight free so that we're not going to have any toxicity build up in our animals. So that's something really cool. We're excited about that. This clover, these bags, you might as well have them filled with gold. I'm not going to tell you how much these bags of clover cost, but man, and the seeds are tiny. Let me see if I can get actually a view of these seeds. I don't know if you can see these in my hand or not, but this is kind of a zoomed in picture. These things are tiny. So this is clover seed. And again, like I mentioned, it's like buying gold. This stuff was so expensive. And I don't mean that as someone kind of was trying to get one over on us, but it's just simply a very expensive thing to buy. But it's great for the soil. It's going to be great for forage for animals that we put out here. And so we had to get some clover. But man, I got to tell you, you buy very much of this stuff, you better have something else going on because it is just so expensive. Like I mentioned, we've got this clover seed. I'm just going to sprinkle it out here on the ground. I don't know, there's like $1.50 I just sprinkled out, but it really is like buying gold, guys. I'm telling you, that stuff is so expensive. If there are farmers out there, if you've ever bought clover before, drop me a note in the description how much you paid for it. I'm going to tell you guys, I said I wasn't going to share it, but so each one of those bags of clover was $177, guys. I thought I was going to fall out of the chair when I read it, but that's just the price of doing business, unfortunately. So we got 4 bags, so that's like $700 worth of clover seed just sitting there. So, you know, we need it. We got to do it, but man, that was a hard pill to swallow. So you can see that we've got everything kind of tilled up. That's what the farmer did for us. He was super kind, but there's nothing out here, and it is so bone dry, short of just a little bit of that rain that we got yesterday. And when I tell you it was rain, you could probably come down here and see out in the field. If you just scratch down a little bit, it's still dry. You can actually see some of the stuff that's still dry down there that really just never got any rain. So it barely even scratched the surface here. We haven't had any measurable rain since about September 18th. So it's been a really big challenge for us because we're trying to get something started out here. But if we plant all this seed, I already saw the crows out here this morning. They were eating some of the rye seeds that we planted. We've got to get some rain. We're hopeful that we're going to get a shower that's going to come through that will help us get some moisture of these things, because if we plant it now and it doesn't rain any, we're just feeding the birds. Now, one of our priorities for next year is to get a tractor, but it's just not in the budget right now. We're in a spot where we're just trying to still recover from the move. We've been investing in a lot of things out here. That grass seed alone was just a huge investment for us, but it needed to be done. In order to get anything established here, we've got to do it now, because if we're going to get animals in the spring that's going to expand our homestead, we've got to get something going now. The rye seed is part of that plan. Now, this is going to be like one of those wait and see games that you just hate to play. But it's going to be one that I'm going to have to be patient for. We're planting the rye seed now. That'll probably start growing fairly quickly here. It'll start shooting up. It'll get something covered in greenage. The idea is we want to crowd out the weed seeds that are going to be coming up as well. So try to get something established in here. Also try to give us some forage that we could actually get animals started on sooner if we wanted to, and if it comes up doing well, right? If we get enough rain for it to come up. We're going to also plant the clover, and the plan is we're going to plant clover and that fescue. Those will be things that probably pop up in the spring when we get closer to warmer growing season, right? So they'll pop up in the spring. Here, the spring probably starts around February, so we'll start seeing some of those things green up and hopefully jump inside of that rye grass. But that's where the patience comes in, and I'm really worried with the rain. If we're going to have enough. If not, that's just a waste of money. We're feeding the birds. So it's a little bit of a stressful situation just because of how much money we've invested in that, because that now has taken a priority over other things. Paying for that grass seed now prevents us from doing some other things. And that's just a real thing on a homestead. And I wanted to share that with you guys. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to share actually how much that clover costs, because when you're trying to do something like this, you got to make tough choices sometimes. Well, I could go get a used tractor for you know, $1,000, or I can buy clover. And so I've talked about this on our social media. I've talked about it on some of our platforms, but one of the things that you have to do when you're homesteading is you have to look for people and build community. Building community is a big thing. I'm very blessed in the fact that we were able to come down closer to home, and I have my brother who has a tractor, and he was able to help us out here. But if you don't have family, look for friends, look for community, look for people that can jump in and help you out. This farmer wasn't family, but he was someone that we knew, and it's a community, and so it's something that he was able to do for us with a big, you know, serious rig. It would have taken me days and days and days with kind of a rinky-dink tractor to do, but he was able to get it done in an hour, hour and a half. So that made a huge difference for us. And trying to leverage those people is a big thing. So you got to get in with community, and you've got to make sure that you understand who's around you, who can help, and then figure out ways that you can help them too. All right, so like I mentioned, we got the rye seed planted yesterday. He was able to do that. He'll be here any minute this morning. I got up a little early to try to beat him out here so I could just record some of this, but we'll get the rest of that done. But then my goal for today is we're going to have to use an old beat up mattress that doesn't have any of the fabric on it anymore. We're going going to pull that and we're going to drag this field, all of these fields, and we're going to do it in a way that we cover the seeds so we get some ground contact in there. Hopefully we get it so that when the moisture falls from a rain, it has a thin layer, a cover over the clover, over the ryegrass, and over the fescue, and allows it to start growing. Otherwise, if it sits on the top there, it's going to be like the parable of the seed in the good book, right? And we don't want stuff to fall and then kind of, jump up and then all of a sudden die off because it doesn't have that root system. We want it to be planted in the ground deep enough so that it can get contact, it can sprout, and then it can come up and have a good root system. And so our goal here today is get the rest of this stuff done, and then I'm gonna bring you along for the ride on how we're dragging it as well. All right, so we are here with my brother today. You can see that I'm clearly the better looking of the two of us, but he's out here out of the kindness of his heart. He's gonna help us today. So now what are we gonna get done today?
Well, we're gonna sow clover and fescue today. The idea is to make sure we get a good cover on what we're doing. So if what we don't do today works right, we do have an opportunity to plant the clover seed by seed. So, that's something we're gonna work at.
And I've already shown you guys how big those clover seeds are. They're tiny. So that would be a real chore. We told the kids they were gonna have to do it, and they got a real kick out of that. So
yeah,
we sowed the rye seed yesterday.
We did.
And so today's the rest of that. So you're gonna get going here in a second?
Gonna get going and make some money.
All right. So I thought it's interesting then to kind of show you guys a little bit. Now my brother has set up these bags out here, and the goal here is that we're trying to show what the spread looks like and kind of see how far out the actual spreader is throwing it, get some general idea of how much it's putting out. Some of it's going to bounce off, so it's not an exact science, but the idea is we're putting these bags out to get just a feel for kind of how wide is the spread, how much are we putting out. And it's a way that you can do that at home if you don't have, there's more scientific ways, I'm sure, of doing this, but it's a simple way that you can do that. So you can kind of see our spread here on our bag, what we've got. We've got fescue coming out, and then you can see like here, there, those small things, those are clover seeds. And so here's the fescue seed that's been thrown out. There's the clover seed. So we're getting a pretty good spread. The wind is blowing in this direction. And so on this bag, you can see that we're getting a pretty good spread. You went over, you can see some of the same thing over here. This clover seed is lighter. It's getting thrown further. So there's less of there's less of the fescue and there's more of the clover here. But what's happening is the wind's carrying it, so the wind's blowing in this direction. But as we come back up here, now he passed over this. This was kind of nearly the center point of where he passed. And you can see that we're getting a good mix in here of the different things. Now, because the wind's blowing in this direction, you can see that this bag didn't get nearly as much on it. And this one only got a few clover seeds on it. So we'll have to make sure that we make more passes on this side, the side that the wind's blowing from, so that we get more coverage over here, because it's just blowing it all in that direction. So that's what he's doing right now. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with us today as we planted our rye, our fescue, and our clover seed to get the baseline started for our little homestead. Now, all we need now is for God to let it rain. We've had no rain, and we're excited that maybe this week, right around Thanksgiving, we're hoping to get some good rain. So fingers crossed. We hope that's going to happen, but we'll see. Next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to drag that. I'll show you that in a future video, but I'm going to show you how we're going to drag this out and cover those seeds up before we get any rain, hopefully, but that'll also keep our birds from eating them. So if you guys have enjoyed the video today, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to our channel. We've got so much going on right now. We are super excited to bring you along on this journey. It's going to be a multi-year thing, trying to turn this farm into something a little different than it's ever been before, but we hope that it honors the legacy of this farm. We hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time on the Purpose Driven Homestead.